I want to run through some free agency grades for the Browns so far via signings and, of course, trades. Now, I am filming this Friday starting at 7 p.m. Eastern, so if someone signs after this video, they won't be included in the video, but I'll give a grade down in the comment section. Now, we're going to look at all the signings made in just a moment, but help us to reach our next milestone, 43,000 subscribers, less than 500 away. If you want a Browns YouTube channel that's going to break down every single signing made by Andrew Berry and company, hit that sub button if you haven't already. So let's talk about some of the signings the Browns have made so far and just silly grades I have for them. Because let's be honest, draft grades are silly. Free agents, draft grades are by far the silliest, but they're still fun to do. It's an American passage. But let's start with Maliek Collins because I want to go in order of biggest contract given out. 2 years, $20 million. I'm going to give this one a B-. I don't think many people thought, you know what the Browns should do? Swap out their 30-year-old defensive tackle, actually not even 30-year-old defensive tackle, for an older defensive tackle who is going to sign for $9 million left than what Dalvin Tomlinson got very quickly from the Arizona Cardinals. Now, the way I can somewhat make sense of this, because I thought Tomlinson was playing good ball, he was a big asset when it came to stopping the run, is maybe the Browns want to go after a different type of defensive line, and they just want pass rushers. And Collins, no doubt, is a better pass rusher than Tomlinson is. So I'll give it a B-. I don't have huge expectations, and I kind of tie this in part to the Tomlinson release and then the Maliek Collins replacement, all that happening within 24 hours of each other. It was pretty rapid succession. So Maliek Collins now takes over from Tomlinson on the defensive line. You've got Myles Garrett, Collins, Shelby Harris, Okoronkwo, all players that if you had to ask, are you better at pass rushing or run stopping? I think all would say pass rushing, right? I mean, the interior guys are supposed to stop the run, but Harris and Collins and Mike Hall, your top 3 interior defensive linemen, they're all there because teams value their pass rush upside. Maybe you put Juwan Briggs, your 7th round pick from Cincinnati last year, in a bigger role as a nose tackle, and you kind of make sense of it going, we can go with Briggs where Tomlinson was, and he's way cheaper, and we can get one more pass rusher. Maybe that's something Jim Schwartz feels he needs to improve the defense after a year ago. I just think a B- somewhat satisfies or sums up not really loving the Tomlinson release, and you go from one older defensive tackle to a slightly older one that's just a little bit cheap. So moving on to our next player, and that is offensive tackle Cornelius Lucas. This was actually the first external free agent signing of the Browns. He came over from the Commanders, where he had been a swing tackle for them for a few seasons, making a couple of starts here and there, but they gave him 2 years, up to $10 million. I'm going to give this one a B. I don't think the takeaway from the grade, by the way, should be Lucas is better than Collins. No, you got to factor in the position value, how big of a need it was, and the price. And I think getting $5 million for what may be your starting left tackle or even right tackle, knowing the bad luck the Browns have had at both those positions the last 2 seasons, I like the idea of getting someone who's actually a competent swing tackle. They did not have that the last few seasons when Jed Wills went down, DeJuan Jones went down, Jack Conklin went down. So he's been around the league, started the Lions, goes to the Rams, the Saints, the Bears, the Commanders for a good while. And I know Commanders fans are, especially the coaching staff, really valued him. And I think his number is going to get called at some point. And I've got more trust in him filling in at left or right tackle than some of the other guys the Browns have had at that position. So give it a solid B grade for me. And now Cleveland looks to, I don't want to say run it back with the same offensive line, but kind of, right? Swap out Jed Wills for DeJuan Jones. We'll see if Wyatt Teller is going to be here for too much longer. I don't want to put that negativity out there, but maybe since they reworked Jack Conklin's deal, that was able to clear up money to keep Teller. I just thought between Teller and Bitonio, if Bitonio didn't retire, they'd have to try and move on from Teller and go with a younger, cheaper Zach Zinter at right guard. So those were some of the first and more notable not even too notable free agent acquisitions the Browns made. We're going to look at the rest in just a second. But first, I do want to give a shout out to our friends over at Mando. Mando is a whole body deodorant safe to use anywhere on your body. Now, I walk to work most days, and it's already heating up here in Texas where Chat Sports is headquartered, and that can cause me to work up quite a sweat. But when I use Mando, I come into the office pit stain free, not smelling awful. It was created by a doctor who saw firsthand how normal BO was being misdiagnosed and mistreated. It is clinically proven to block odor all day and control odor for up to 72 hours. They're offering new customers $5 off their starter pack at shopmando.com with promo code CHAT. Mando's starter pack is perfect for new customers. It comes with a solid stick deodorant, cream tube deodorant, tree-free products of your choice, and free shipping. I've got a discount code to get you guys hooked up on my favorite smelling whole body deodorant. New customers get $5 off a starter pack with our exclusive code CHAT. That equates to over 40% off your starter pack when you use code CHAT at shopmando.com. That's shopmando.com. All of that information is in the comments and description of today's video. On to the next acquisition, and that is Kenny Pickett. And I'm just going in order of like how expensive they are contract-wise, and he is next in line. I feel a little bad for Pickett because the guy was traded, and he's not really being received with open arms, and I'm a huge reason for why that is the case because I don't like the trade. I'm giving it a D. And I know that Pickett is not being traded for to be this team's starting quarterback. I know that. But and this is this really weird theory, and it's probably just a me thing. I don't like trading for players I think are bad. I don't think Pickett's good. Do you think Pickett's good? I don't think Pickett's good. I think the numbers speak for themselves, right? His time in Pittsburgh, I don't even think he was the best backup last year in Philly. I think there's a reason why the Eagles were like, you want our backup? Remind me, which backup are you talking about again? Okay, of course, Pickett. Yeah, duh. Because I think Philly likes Tanner McKee more. I think the Browns traded for the wrong backup quarterback. But we know Andrew Berry likes the former first and second round draft picks and thinks, maybe we can get that first round talent out of him. If there's a way I'm wrong, it's Kenny Pickett starts for the Browns at Acrisure Stadium and just bends him over a barrel, belt to ass, and beats the Steelers. At that point, I will be so happy to be so wrong. And I don't know if anyone has ever felt that way before. It would be like if you live betted against the Allies and the next day D-Day happened. Very good thing to be wrong about. So I hope I'm wrong about this. I don't think Kenny Pickett's a good quarterback. Therefore, I don't like trading for him, even though it traded you almost nothing. DTR was not going to be on this team in 2025. I had talked about that plenty on the channel. 5th round draft pick's not nothing. So that's a little bit of a ding right there, but you should not, bank on a 5th rounder, being the key to a successful draft. I will say one thing in defense of Pickett, some people were really upset or worked up over him saying, I'm going to be a starter, or I want to be the starter. Good. You should say that. There's a quarterback battle. There should be no quarterback in this locker room that does not believe they should be the starter. It's open season. You should be full on competitive. I want this job. We're having auditions right now. If you don't think you can be a starter, get out, because it is anyone's job at the moment. So that's my grade. I just don't think Pickett's a very good quarterback. We have one more free agent acquisition, and then we are going to just recap all of the other ones. And so this is Joe Tryon-Shoyinka. Maybe I could have put him before Pickett, but whatever. 1 year, less than $5 million contract for the former first-round pick by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in 2021. I give it a C. I don't have high expectations for him. I'm not even really positive what position he's going to play. He was a linebacker that kind of moved to an outside linebacker for the Buccaneers. Maybe he's going to be defensive end for Cleveland. This will be a Jim Schwartz summer project. So most people like build birdhouses or get really into that. Jim, here you go. You've got the 32nd overall pick from 2021 who hasn't lived up to first round expectations. Hasn't been unplayable. 4 sacks, 5 sacks, couple forced fumbles, good amount of tackles. We'll see if they put him at linebacker. Maybe this is we're nervous about JOK, so we wanted to get some extra depth at that position type of signing. Or maybe they envision putting him in a 3-point stance and getting him at the defensive line. I think there's some flexibility right here. So we'll find out as we get towards training camp and things like that. But you paid $4.75 million. This isn't one to really get too worked up over, which contradicts what I said about Kenny Pickett, but I just think Pickett sucks. And I said that when he was in Pittsburgh, and I'm not going to all of a sudden, come out with a whole different tune just because he's on the Browns here. So we are filming this Friday evening. Reed's really mad at me because everyone is out at the bar right now having drinks, having summer beers, and Reed and I are still getting videos out because I wanted to make sure you guys were covered off. So if they sign one of these quarterbacks, obviously this will sound dumb when this video goes out on Saturday. But if they haven't, who do you want? Kenny Pickett? Oh, no, sorry. Kirk Cousins? Russell Wilson? Joe Flacco? Or door number 4, Kenny Pickett? For me, it goes 1, and then I don't really want either one. So that's where I'm at. And he's leading the pack just because of how cheap it would be. He's going to cost way more. And I don't think he's any good. And not that Kirk Cousins looked much better at all last year, but I'm willing to believe, Kirk, that he played through a shoulder and elbow injury. That's what caused him to completely fall off a cliff, and that's what people are forming their opinion on, and somewhat understandably so. So that's going to do it for us. We're going to sign off. We're going to go to the Cathedral Ice House. If anyone's watching right now, you're a little late, but you can come back in time and join us, and we'll see you later.